need to figure out what this means. I need to get the correct gods to their proper locations. Another coffin, and it's locked. Ancient Egyptians did not mess around. This could be about the Queen's children.
Nancy, what's been going on?
I opened the sarcophagus.
You did?
Oh, I didn't expect you to be so excited. I doubt it has anything to do with the Anunnaki.
You never know. I'll have to see this room myself.
Can't open it. It's locked. I need to open this. I wonder what these mean. Why would an alien expert need an archaeology textbook?
Hotchkiss here?
It's Nancy Drew.
Oh, Francine, dear, I'm so glad you called. I've been having the most infuriating problem with my internet.
This is Nancy Drew.
Oh, you young people are so refreshing, always in search of new identities. The problem is that I downloaded this program called Weather Monkey. At my age, it's important that I keep abreast of all meteorological developments. But now I'm starting a new book, and I can't focus on my work because the Weather Monkey keeps yelling the weather at me.
Maybe you should uninstall it?
I will do no such thing. That would be tantamount to murder.
Maybe turn it down?
Brilliant and fantastic. Oh, yes, Samantha, you are a ticket. I would love to help you, but how do I know you again?
Nancy Drew. We've met a few times.
Aha, now I remember you. If life were a good book, you'd be my favorite reoccurring character.
I'm in Egypt, and I need your help.
Egypt? Well, why didn't you say that instead of chattering away about my internet problems?
I don't know how to respond to that. I read your book, and I thought maybe you could help.
You found my book while you were in Egypt. The serendipity is as delectable as Chateaubriand smothered in lavender lemon juice. I am at your disposal.
I didn't exactly find it. You sent it to me. You even signed it.
Oh dear, I sign and send lots of things.
Lily seems to be taking this curse business very seriously.
I thought you were Lily.
The other Lily?
Hotchkiss prank! Oh, you're such a good sport, Nadine. That's a little silly of her, don't you think? Curses may only be a figment of our overactive imaginations.
That's what I think.
There are more pressing things to worry about. Most Egyptologists die because the desert is inhospitable and positively crawling with diseases. Horrid molds and bacteria that have been breeding for thousands of years unchecked. And let's not forget the lack of structural integrity of most of the tombs.
That's less than reassuring.
Oh dear, everybody dies, but life isn't worth living if you don't take a few risks. Although I guess I should stress that everyone dies much faster in the desert. Much, much faster.
Have you heard of the theory that aliens built the pyramids?
Oh, that old gem. Yes, who cares?
Who cares?
Well, unless they're sending us a bill, does it matter?
With all of your work, I assume you'd at least care.
Oh, no, dear. You mustn't let those things bother you. Some of us have keen observational skills and a rigid adherence to the scientific method. And some of us have thought processes that best resemble a piñata explosion at a sugar-fueled child's birthday extravaganza. Either way, if it encourages people to witness the marvels of ancient Egypt in person, it's good work, in my opinion.
Have you heard of an expedition that went off in search of Nefertari years ago?
Oh, yes. The team in which everyone died. Is that the one?
Yes. Do you think that story is true?
Oh, heavens, yes. It's deadly out there in the desert. Think about it. You're going out there in search of dead bodies. There must be a reason they're in favor of the area.
But this expedition wasn't searching for QV66, right?
Indeed not. That had already been discovered. They were searching for Nefertari's mummy.
What do you think happened to them?
Oh, it's best you not concern yourself about that now, given your current location.
Have you heard of Abdullah?
Yes, I have. He is December on my Men of Archaeology calendar.
You're kidding me. Does that exist?
It existed the second I made it. Is he there with you?
Yes. He seems full of himself.
He is. Oh, I am not an advocate of pulpy romance novels, but if I were, I'd call that an archable trait. In Chapter 1, he'd swagger into the excavation site, the picture of a rascal with his dusty leather jacket and decidedly European haircut. His cocky ne'er-do-well smirk displaying his perfectly white teeth, but by the end he'd be sweetly holding flowers and saying, "Professor Hotchkiss, I'm dying to discuss your latest publication." A colleague of mine has guilted me into editing her latest romance novel, and I must confess I cannot wait until the project is completed. Reading page after page is absolutely wreaking havoc on my metaphors. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I no longer know.
Abdullah, that's what. He's a cold-blooded hotshot with only one setting: success. Oh, sorry, I've also been helping my nephew break into the movie trailer business. Oh, Hotchkiss, why must you always burn the candle at both ends? He's a good archaeologist who knows Egypt inside and out. He could teach you a thing or two, just don't pick up the attitude.
Do you believe the Anunnaki exist?
You may as well be asking me if I believe Brian Abernathy Fultonbright exists. I don't know, and further I could only guess.
Is that a name you just made up?
Yes. Now, given the fact that there are 7+ billion people on Earth, it stands to reason that he may be a real person. And if we apply the Drake equation, we will find the astronomical, no wordplay intended, dear, number of habitable planets in the universe. It is possible that the Anunnaki may exist. But since the evidence is shaky at best, I am much more interested in the here and now.
Same here. You said the evidence of the Anunnaki is shaky. What evidence is there?
Some say if you look at the hieroglyphs, you'll see some of the figures holding flashlights.
Okay, that's strange.
Well, not exactly. It's easy to see what you want to see. Seeing the tombs always made me feel quite simply famished. As the long days would pass, the murals would become quite simply delicious. Osiris would be holding the most wonderful caramel flans. Reeds would be chicken wings, and cipher for twisted flax would transmogrify into warm, straight out of the oven, garlic knots right before my eyes. My point is that you can see what you want to see, and what I want to see is that takeout menu for the Spicetown Speakeasy. I may have to put you on hold, dear. Just a moment.
I'm still on.
Hotchkiss here. I'd like baguette stuffed with mushroom and sautéed asparagus, and a beef jerky salad with caramel vinaigrette.
That can't be a real food item.
Is that still you, Norma?
Nancy?
Is this your first day at Spice Town? I'm Hotchkiss. We'll be talking to each other quite often. Would you kindly summarize your personality for me, for efficiency's sake?
No, it's Nancy Drew. Still on the line, still in Egypt.
Oh, drat and drat. Well, perhaps I'll just be dull and prepare myself a curried waffle sandwich.
What do you know about Nefertari?
Ah, a love story. Oh, break out the tissue papyrus, because when I'm done, there won't be a dry Horus in the house.
What?
Look it up, dear. Ramses II and Nefertari shared a love so vast, the world could scarcely contain it. I'm talking about the kind of love you spell capital L, capital O, heart instead of a V, capital E. They stood side by side and ruled the world, but as they saw the years stretch out before them, they were keenly aware that a handful of decades would never cut it. They needed to be together always.
That's sweet.
And relevant. The ancient Egyptians believed that life was little more than a dress rehearsal for eternity. I've found records that they concocted a plan to be together forever, side by side.
Why not be buried side by side?
They foresaw a volatile future for their kingdom, and they were correct. They knew they would have to enact safeguards. That's why in 1904, when QV66, the so-called tomb of Nefertari, was found, her body was not there.
What are the chances we found Nefertari's tomb?
If I were a gambling Hotchkiss, I'd say 60-40.
I still don't get all this business with QV66. Why build a fake tomb?
For the same reason I never carry my passport in my purse when I travel. Some things are too valuable to leave in a tempting place.
You mentioned an expedition that found QV66, Nefertari's tomb.
It was one of the most significant finds in archaeology. They call it the Sistine Chapel of Egypt. It's where my fascination with the royalty of Egypt was born. The color alone took my breath away. We think of ancient Egypt as being a subdued sand color, but it was a riotous display with all the visual delights of a midsummer gelato shop cooler case.
And you don't think Nefertari was entombed there?
They only found kneecaps, which supposedly means that her tomb was robbed.
You disagree?
I do. What good is the mummy without the context? It's the placement in the tomb that makes the mummy valuable.
Why is Nefertari so important?
There are two queens I find most fascinating in ancient Egypt, and for exactly the same reason. They were hidden. Hatshepsut is the first.
I think I've heard of her. She was the pharaoh that was almost removed from the historical record, right?
Exactly. 20-some years of peace and stability, and after she dies, Thutmose III's ancient cronies try to erase her from the record.
Why?
Jealousy, revenge, fear that his reign would never equal hers. You name it, but you can't keep a good woman down. Despite the efforts of Thutmose III's supporters, her legacy endured.
And Nefertari?
In my opinion, she's the opposite. She was obsessively preserved in the historical record, but it was her tomb that was hidden.
How sure are you that Nefertari's tomb was hidden?
There was something strange about QV66. I think that might be why it is off limits to this day.
It is?
To you and me, at the very least. There is a rumor that the tomb has a clue to the true location of Nefertari's mummy.
Really?
Who knows? I'll tell you this. I didn't have time to read all of the hieroglyphs, but I noticed that the syntax was a little, shall we say, wonky?
I don't know how hieroglyph syntax could be non-wonky.
True, but it was almost as if Nefertari and Ramses II had their own language.
Do you know anything about Nefertari's children?
Of course I do.
Can you tell me their names?
Yes, it's best we start with the boys.
Sure.
There's Among her Kepshef, meaning among is with his strong arm.
How do I spell that?
Oh dear, you get a piece of paper and a pen and you write down whatever you like for the next 5 minutes. Pa-Re-Her Wenemef. Ray is with his strong arm. Mary, beloved of Ray. Miriatum, beloved of Atum. part about ancient Egyptian names is that there are no ancient Egyptians around to correct your pronunciation. Oh, come back when you're ready for the girls.
Can you tell me the names of Nefertari's daughters?
I need you to do some searching for me. I've decided to restart my book project. Can you gather some information for me?
If it means you'll tell me the daughters' names, then sure.
Great! Who is above all the doors in the main antechamber?
Mott.
Thank you.
I'm ready for the daughters' names now.
Merit Amen, the beloved of Amen.
Got it.
Henatawi, the mistress of two lands.
Okay.
Nebatawi, the lady of two lands. So it seems favoritism isn't a modern invention.
And the children were mentioned in order, from oldest to youngest, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, dear.
I've got something for you.
What's that?
Proof that space girl is Batty. I saw her creeping around and she dropped this. Here.
It looks like some sort of code.
Ooh, you're generous. I'd call it the maniacal screed of a madman. Or is it mad woman? Why is madness gender specific to men?
Yeah, you tell me.
I like you. Let's shake the dust off this small-time tomb, off our boots, and see the world together.
Can I keep this?
Yes, but you have to promise me that if it starts making sense, you'll call a psychologist immediately and schedule yourself in for a full workover. You would have had fun seeing the world with me. Admit it.
I'd better get going.
Hurry back now.